I feel like it's been.
Hey guys, welcome to the RBR Show. We have an exciting show for you today. We're going to be diving deep into the local Texas real estate market, and we got a lot of fun things to talk about. With that, we're going to kick it off. Uh, we have myself, Roger Hayer, Brittany Daly, and Rosie Hayer. Uh, Smile. All right, there we go. All right, cool. So, guys, funny, exciting conversation. Real estate. What you guys been up to? What are you noticing in the marketplace? We're specifically talking about.
Why do you have a yellow paint on your nail?
You
That's
saw
what I
that?
was wondering too.
You saw that? Y'all saw that? I was worried I was going to be touching my face and I was going to have paint in my hands. I don't know.
Afterwards.
It's always easy to get into things around the house and little maintenance, you know.
What are you maintaining?
That's yellow.
paint.
Parking lots, parking scrapes. No, just a little touch-up paint.
Oh, fancy.
I know I was like, I don't know why I even bothered with it, but anyways. So guys, we're talking about Austin specifically. Y'all want to talk about the Austin market? I've seen quite a few interesting things. You guys are shaking your heads now.
Bree, can you please help me? Please help me. I'm serious. God dang it.
Okay, hello.
Poor Roger. Roger's face is like, what is even going on? Today we're going to be talking about listings and what that means if you list your home.
No, I was aware of that. That's the angle that I was coming from, was talking about the overall market, and I thought we could like lean into listings and to speak about listings more specifically, knowing what's happening in the marketplace.
Okay.
That's the angle I was gonna come from.
Okay.
We love it.
So, one of the things that I've noticed is builder activity, they said, is up anywhere from 8 to 12% all across the state, all in the major metropolitan areas. And so we have building permits that are up. We also are noticing increased, just got an email from Texas A&M Real Estate Center saying manufactured home sales have skyrocketed or gone up quite a bit. And then I'm hearing that I did a little deep dive into what's available on the market, what are the median home prices, and I've noticed that from the peak in 2022, we've come down double digits in many instances when we look at, especially when we look at a certain segment of the market. So in Austin, when we look at all of the median home sales and we don't really specify any of the criteria,
Can we quickly talk about why builder sales are up?
Yeah, you want me to just touch on this?
You should be asking me questions. So today's session is like you both ask me questions.
Yeah, well,
Brie, what's that show where there's a Kung Fu Panda and the Shubu, the guy who has all that, the old man?
Oh, I think it's Kung Fu Panda.
No.
Wait, are you talking? Wait.
There's an old wiser guy who has all the answers and he gives advice to Kung Fu Panda. Who's that guy?
Oh, I don't know.
I have to Google it now. Keep talking, honey.
Okay, so anyways, the price median home prices are a little bit all over the place when we look at just the broader market. It's not down so much, but when we look at the specific segment, which is 3-bedroom 2-bath, we're noticing there's a huge price correction in that segment, which is in my mind a real opportunity for a lot of investors to move and buy those properties. And so and then another thing I'm noticing is it's kind of flip and hutto though. The 3.2s haven't been hit as hard as just the general market. And I think affordability is an issue right now, which is really good for our core client base, which is investor minded. And so those are some of the ththings that I've tracked. And
Master Shifu.
Okay.
Okay, you're
I'm
Master
Master
Shifu?
Shifu today because Master Shifu signifies not just a skilled instructor, but also someone with a deep connection and responsibility towards their students, extending beyond the training hall. So I'm Master Shifu of listings today.
Well, hello, Miss Master Shifu.
Hello, Master Shifu.
Welcome, my child. Ask away. What do you want to know about listings? Don't make assumptions. Ask questions.
Okay, I want to know what is the hardest part about listings right now in this market.
What a perfect question to ask. Roger, this is tying back to what you just said. You
Mhm.
said builders are selling left and right all over the nation. Their sales are up. So, hence, Bree, to answer your question, the hardest part of selling a listing in today's market is a competition with brand new builders.
Is that right?
100%. Here is why builders are business people.
Mm.
They have to make a decision to keep the cash flow going. And that doesn't mean they're always racking in big profits. They're just doing what's necessary to move forward because they can do it. Most builders, Bree, and you are in the new builder construction buyer portfolio a lot. Most builders are reducing the prices or they're offering kick ass interest rates because they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy the rates down. It is very common for us to see a builder offer a 4.5%, 3.9%, even today's market. How? I mean, how are they doing it? They're doing it because they know they have to make the house affordable to sell it. Otherwise, what are they going to have to do? Cut the price. And cutting the price is way more profit out of their pocket than buying the rate down.
What do you
So
think allows them to keep building with the price kind of leveling out, coming down a little bit from previous years? What's allowed builders to stay in the game?
they don't have a choice.
Mm.
Builders are always behind catching up and always behind slowing down. When they've already bought major lots, they've already bought hundreds of acres of land, they cannot just return it back to the seller and say, hey, seller, take the land back. I can't build anymore. They have to now move forward with the next phase. And the only way they can do it if they liquidate the previous phases and reinvest in the new land that they bought. And what builders are not serving to direct consumer, they're serving to the need of the market. So if you look at the overall city of Austin or Texas market, we have shortage of homes. We
Mm.
have shortage of homes. The number of people moving in, our absorption rates are too high, even when the market is low. So they're not thinking that right now inventory just went from 1.5 month to 4 month, I should slow down. 4 month is not a buyer's market. It is still a seller's market. Sellers' expectations of price has to come down, but it is still a seller's market. They don't have to give away their houses, they can hold on to it if the price is too low that buyer is offering, right? So what I'm trying to simply say here is this. Builders are your competition. And the reason they're competition is because they are serving the need of the market where a seller is selling to serve their own need to move. So when you're performing to the need of the market, you have to make a decision for the masses.
But Rosie, also that kind of makes me think of when it's a business person doing it, they can do it at cost,
Yeah.
just because they got to stay in business, and they have to move product, and their mindset is different than a homeowner, and so they're quick to pivot their strategies. They're wanting to keep the ball moving forward. And I remember, just I think it was mid last year where we met with a builder who was going bankrupt because he couldn't he was in over his head. He had already bought the project, like you said. He couldn't stop, and he's a custom home builder. And so I feel like a lot of the homes that people may buy or walk into today might be at cost or at a huge discount, like,
Yeah.
compared to the when the market's really good and everything's gravy. And
Well, let's talk about one thing real quick here, right? We said it very lightly that builders are business people, right? And they are having to perform to the need of the mass, right? They're not performing for themselves alone, right? So what I'm trying to indicate here is this very key factor. When we say builders are businesses,
Mhm.
they're not attached to a price. They're attached to making the needle move forward for the next project. Versus a normal homeowner, they're attached to the price.
Yeah.
Because to them, it is all the Thanksgiving dinners they have had, all the Christmas get togethers they have had. This is where they raise their children. Dropping a price is almost like a hit to their identity than to their bank account. They have a certain expectation. And they've spent a lot of hard earned money every single month to create an equity that market just took away because of hard interest rates, right? So when we make a decision for a business, there is less attachment because we are not identifying with it. We're doing what's needed in the moment. But when people are selling homes for themselves, they are attached to it because it's to their need. Their
And the
need is
price
not.
takes longer to go up than it does to come down, right?
Yeah, one of the famous sayings we have in our investor world is that real estate prices take escalator going up and elevator going down. So when it's going down, it's like, but when it's going up, it's the escalator speed, very slow. It's recovery. Yeah. Does it make sense, you children? Uh, has Shifu delivered on builder and
Yes,
listings?
Shifu. Yes, Shifu.
All
Yes,
right.
yes, Master Shifu.
Ask away. What's the next question?
Price adjustments. How long are people taking on average to adjust prices?
Well, there are two things that go into it. How quickly are they suggested and how quickly do they accept and make a change? That's something that is not talked often about. We in our company, in our business, when we are working with our people, we have investors who are selling properties with them. We are homeowners who are selling properties with us. So we get to see both personality types, both profiles of sellers, right? Now, we make suggestions every single week. Every Thursday, like a clockwork, we watch the market, we send our people an update on what's selling, what's not selling. If there is competition in the market that is comparable to us and is dropping the price, then we got to re strategize to stay competitive in the market. Otherwise, we're just helping other people sell. I call it switch listing, and think it has been my favorite thing to talk about in last decade in real estate. Switch listing simply means you're on the market for sale, and there is another property on the sale. You guys are very comparable: 4 bedroom, 3 full bath, very similar in square footage, very similar in year built, and very similar in upgrades. Maybe one has wood floors and one doesn't.
Yeah.
So when a buyer is ready to spend money and the neighbor's house go under contract and ours don't, we have to ask ourselves why. There should be a big question mark on that.
Mhm.
Somebody had $550,000 to spend, but they spent on neighbor's house, not on our house. Because if we are priced 50K higher than the neighbor's property, we just made our neighbor's house look like a great value. And the buyer is like, wow, I'm getting a house with upgraded flooring for $50,000 less. Let me just negotiate an offer with them rather than even wasting my time with this house that is $50,000 overpriced. So what's happening is that a suggestion has to be made every week to make sure that the listing that a seller has is not positioned as a switch listing.
So basically, not making other people look like a bargain.
Yes.
Is your home making other homes look like a bargain?
Yes.
Mm.
We gotta stay strategically ahead of market and not look like a switch listing because equity is there. But if the expectations are not, I always tell people, I say, look at a price adjustment as your key to release your equity that has been held hostage by the market. Sometimes a 15K adjustment in price is holding your 100K hostage.
And how quickly should you be making these price adjustments?
As quickly as the neighbors around you are. I say differently in other markets, stay a little bit ahead of the market than them. So not one of the biggest mistakes, like I just sold a property in Hutto, and this property came off the market unsold 6 months ago. And most people would think that, hey, we need to come on the market and we need to drop the price and sell again because the last price didn't work, right? That was not the case. We came on the market same price as last time, got under contract at the list price, did some negotiations behind the scene on the terms, and we sold. We didn't have to give it away.
Mhm.
Too many people think just because neighbor is like that, I'm going to be like that. You got to have a discernment around what is neighbor's house really offering and what is your value and benefit compared to your neighbor. Is it the yard? Is it the square footage? Is it the number of bedroom and bathroom? Is it something that will just take a conversation to bring the buy? One thing I feel like listing brokers and agents don't do enough of is engage buyer agents in a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me more.
Okay, so Bree, you showed so Bree, if you showed my property, right? I know it's pain in the rear to give a feedback on a listing because you just drove around 6 hours showing 10 properties in every part of the city, and you are answering buyer questions on what to do next. The last thing you want to do is give feedback on a house that you even forgot you showed that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I understand that because I experienced it and you are on the team. I know the problems you would experience. So, as a listing broker, what if I approach you and said, in today's market, having people like you proactively help buyers is a blessing. I just want to say thank you for making our property a priority to be shown this week. Here is the pictures. I know you might have forgotten about it. What would it take for your clients to write an offer on our property?
Yeah.
I didn't say if you like it or not. What would it take for your clients to write an offer on our property?
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people would be like, wow, that sounds desperate.
No.
No, that sounds collaborative.
Yeah. No, if I got that, I would like it. Number one, you show appreciation of a showing. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want to hear that? Number two, you give us pictures for reference because, like you said, we always forget. That's very helpful. And then number three, you're saying, what can we do to get an offer on this? That shows me that, hey, we can collaborate. Maybe something that's important to my buyer that we can get. Maybe they need a little bit longer close date, or maybe closing costs, whatever is important to them. I would answer that sort of text rather than, hey, provide feedback on this listing. What listing is it? I don't even know. What feedback do you want? My clients don't like it.
Yeah, you see how much pressure she's feeling
Uh,
in just answering that question? I know that because I've experienced it, right? My priority is the buyer, not answering to a listing. So when I get that, they said, well, it didn't make the short list. I know it's going to be a pain in the rear to write a long feedback. Would you drop me a quick voice memo on what they didn't like or what you think this house can do differently?
Yeah.
That's it. Asking for advice invites partnership. Asking for opinion invites criticism. So I'm always asking for advice because one thing that gets in the way of selling real estate is people's ego. Listing brokers, you guys had a very nice ride on a nice horse for quite a long time. It's okay to ride a pony for some time and defeat your ego, right? And I'm one of them. I have no ego around I'm a listing broker. You show my property, you bring me an offer. No, I don't care. Sometimes people would be like, well, do we have a survey and all that stuff? I know I attached everything on the market. We prepare our listings and we vet them so diligently because I don't want anything getting in the way of someone making a decision. Matter of fact, some of the messages come to us like this in our team saying, oh, God, thank God for having all the documents ready online. I mean, I don't have to chase it. Surveys, T47s, seller disclosures, mud districts, whatever you need. Like if we have a great package from a lender on a low rate, we attach that too. But we take it a notch above. I know buyers are working hard. They don't have time to think about why this area is great. We create a beautiful property profile where we tell people this is what this house has to offer, and this is what makes this area great. These are the amenities. This is what you can enjoy as a lifestyle there. And this is what the schools are looking like and what their ratings look like. I want you to brag about it, not through Google or ChatGPT. I'm going to make it available to you in an attachment. Because when a buyer agent has so much to share on a listing, it's no brainer why you're going to retain a mind share. I am not thinking about if they're going to buy our property or not. You cannot make people buy your property. It's called steering, right? That's against the law. But I want to make sure when people are ready to buy a property, at least they think of us. That's it. And
oh, sorry. I think it would be beneficial if you kind of go over that again, like the work that it takes up front before you even list the property, what you're doing on the back end. So that way, when you do hit the market, it is really helpful. Like when y'all have listings, what y'all do is very separate than what I see on MLS all the time. And if anyone ever does this stuff, I'm always super grateful because it makes our job easier on the buying side.
Yeah. So after initial consultation, whenever I'm just going to go from the process of we have everything, seller agreed. So number one, before we hit the market, 24 hours before we hit the market, we re-strategize our pricing with the sellers. I literally jump on a Zoom call just like this. I discuss everything one more time because I never think it's their home. We're in this together. I'm 100% responsible for everything that you're experiencing. I'm experiencing it with them. There is no you against me. We're one. We're going in the same goal. We're all wanting to accomplish the most for this property, right? So we discuss the market in detail. I share everything with them, what's going on, what has changed since we last met. Because most people rely on the previous information to make today's decision. That's the biggest mistake you can make in real estate. When you are selling a stock, you want to know what a stock is worth today, not what it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how we are analyzing the market. Number one, bring sellers on board. Second, we get sellers involved in the process of talking about the story of the house. You tell us what makes this house great. We incorporate that into our description of our property because if they enjoyed a beautiful backyard and a quiet evening in the shade of oak trees, I want the next buyer to experience that because nobody can tell a story of a home except the seller himself. We review everything that we have shared on our listing page with our sellers, and we give them permission to review it and tell us what they want changed. We want them to feel invited. Now we are collaboration, not a competition, which is the biggest mistake people make, right? So once we have all the listing verified by seller, we have all the market reviewed with the seller, now we take charge back again. When we're going on the market, we look at the previous listings. If it has been listed before, what kind of information was there? And if there was something that can be useful this time, we incorporate that. We go into the tax record, we find out if there are special mud district disclosures that we need to make available to the buyer's agent so they don't have to run around with like a chicken with the head cut off. Title company needs it, lender needs it. No, disclose, disclose, disclose. I want everything disclosed. So we disclose that. We review the seller disclosures with our sellers to make sure we thoroughly understand what they have put in there. Because if there is a crack in a window in a master bedroom, let's put it on there so that the buyer agent can review it and they write an offer incorporating that in there rather than becoming a negotiation point after receiving an offer. I tell people all the time, I don't negotiate money. I negotiate emotional involvement. That's what you're really doing. Mm-hmm. According to seller, that crack was there. According to the buyer, they didn't see it. Mm-hmm. But who can have done a little bit of a better job by highlighting it? So seller reviews, listing reviews, writing a story about the property, looking at the tax record and reviewing all the disclosures, reviewing seller disclosures, getting the surveys. If the surveys are not available, we reach out to the previous title companies and see if we can help sellers save $600-700 on a survey. Why? Because not only it is a good thing to do for a seller, I would fight for my $600. I want to fight. That's the value we bring to the table when we work together. And they don't have to worry about these little things. Or we help them identify where they can find this information. So surveys are there. Then we know we need T47s. So this is just the prerequisite. We package this together. Now we get to the flyer part. We are very introspective in our real estate research. We have always information coming in for every city. What's happening in Pflugerville? What's happening in Georgetown? Our team constantly searches it and constantly adds it on to the record. You guys know the Excel sheets we maintain for all the great news. So when we are designing the marketing, we extract that for that city, for that zip code. We know this is what makes that zip code great. Right now, the latest information is a new data center is coming. These many jobs are coming in the area, which means rentals are growing, which means properties are going to appreciate. This is what house used to sell in this area at this time. Look how good of a deal you're getting with sellers' reasonable expectations in today's market. This is where you can walk for a breakfast taco. This is where you can enjoy the evening trails. These are the schools. This is what it makes it great. And this is what neighborhood has done by revamping the amenity center. Your kids can play in the pool here. We have heated and sports pools like lap pools. So we share all of that. So when a listing agent is showing the property, they can just buyer's agent is showing the property, they can just open the flyer and they can brag about the listing. I just want mind share. That's it. So we can cut through the noise. And when we have done this information, given this information before the launch, our marketing team does a whole different social media. I'm not even going to go into that. They would probably can do a better job at explaining all the Facebook ads, Instagram Reels post, and our email blast and calls and text messages, all of that stuff they do, right? That's non-negotiable. I'm talking about how do we present? How do we position ourselves? Now, once we have done all of that, we rehire for this job every single week. We work every single week that as if seller just said yes to us this week to sell their property. We research the market the same way we first met every single week. We circle around the neighborhood, we find out what other homes are selling, what's not selling. And if agents are showing our property, we thank them, ask for advice, and make it easy for them to write an offer. We're constantly looking at the lenders, what programs they're offering, and we give that information to the buyer's agents and tell them, hey, give your buyer this lender's information. Maybe it will help you write an offer. I want my buyer's agents to look like heroes. I don't care. I want them to go look at it. Just bring me an offer. So students, Master Shifu is done with that kind of question.
Thank you, Master Shifu.
Thank you, Master Shifu.
Assholes. Okay, next question.
That was really good. I don't think that enough people know or understand on the back end what all goes into it and how important it is on the buying side for buyer's agents to receive that information and how helpful it is for buyers that are looking and for sellers that are wanting to sell.
Yeah. We have like a running discovery sheet going for each property.
Actually, to your point, Bree, I don't remember the last time I showed a property and I ever got an email from the listing agent asking me what's it going to take to place an offer on a property. I don't think that's, and I kind of felt bad because that if there's a listing agent watching right now, they're getting this, what is it, soup or sauce or whatever, so.
I don't know the cooling.
I held the recipe back.
You held the recipe back? Okay.
That was good.
No, it's really valuable. Right now I'm thinking about somebody who's got, 6 figures of equity, could be 5 figures of equity, whatever it is. It's a lot of money. We work day and night for it and then go to pay our mortgage each month. And, that's money that's ours. And so if anyone's advocating for it, I think that's a huge plus, and
we just helped a seller who was going to walk away with less than $2,000 in net proceeds, and they're walking away with $20,000.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yep. And I looked at that offer. I said, if you can just let me do what I want to do to this house, and this $2,000 is going to be there even if I fail. But for 1 second, let me just play with this. And we played hard, and we won. So it's good stuff. You really have to enjoy what you're doing. I think that's what's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't expect anything less from both of you.
Yeah, I think it's the difference between good to great. That's a really good book. I should go back and read that one. And they talk about that going that extra little mile. You know, that's what separates the good from the great.
I want to know what was that.
What's that?
When I said you both should be doing the same, and you were like,
Well, it's nature out here. You know, I'm getting to admire all the birds and everything.
no, you were like, oh, we'll see. I'm like, I cannot instruct him, even if I'm Master Shifu.
He doesn't listen to Master Shifu.
Okay.
Eventually, I come around to it.
So was this valuable today? Did you guys enjoy learning about this?
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Ask away.
Because I am looking at like list price to sales price ratios. And I'm seeing a bit of an upward trend as of May 2025. But I wanted to know, what are you seeing on the listing side? Because like for instance, sometimes we can negotiate a lot, and sometimes I am seeing some instances, specifically, very surprisingly, Mainer, of having multiple offers. And so I'm just curious, like, what are you seeing, like original list price to close price ratios? I know it's different for each area, but
I'm seeing, like, even in today's market, people are like, market is crashing, like, God dang it, like, bring those people in front of me. So I'm half my job is just to clean the water that they muddied for us, right? 97 to 98%, even in right now.
yeah.
Really good number, right? I don't have a bad number. But when people are submitting an offer, I think what you're really asking is that number reliable to negotiate on a property? I'm sorry to say, not right now. It's not reliable because one property is not going to change the 97-98% ratio. That one property that you're really liking could be the property that is offering a really good value in today's market. And
Yeah.
if you just make a decision based on what the average statistics are, I'm afraid that they're going to lose on a property that is really good. So I would say negotiate with discernment. That's my new term. Negotiate with discernment. Back it up with the reason. Why do you think it's okay to negotiate? Because if this property is screaming value in every way, and you're looking at your competition, and you know that this house has that house, then forget data, forget logistics, do what's right in front of you.
Mhm.
So
have that discernment, negotiate with discernment.
You know, guys, I was just looking at the numbers for Texas, and so we've had a lot of different types of migration, but I think all in all, maybe we're at like 400,000 to 500,000 people in the population. We have domestic migration, and then people moving in from out of state. So I think with the domestic migration, we saw a net increase of, I don't know, Google saying this, maybe we should look into it some more, but roughly 500,000 plus people, mostly moving into the larger metros of Texas. So that would be Austin, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. And lately, what I've been hearing is the developers are finding it more and more difficult to get utilities because they're having to go further and further out. So a lot of these outskirt areas that we're now moving into, like if you can imagine, I'm hearing news about Taylor getting a brand new neighborhood, or new development in Taylor. Well, where are they going to get these utilities from? Because if you would have rode around in Taylor a year ago, you would have seen a 1960s style firefighter engine. Like, that city's old. They didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of resources. They weren't having any expansion. It was a contract, like it was contracted. The growth was contracted, right? And now with all this new growth, and I think 10,000 employees at the Samsung factory, there's a demand for housing out there. So where are they supposed to get these electric and water and all this stuff from? So I think with more and more people moving into the city and more of the domestic migration, I think that's what's more significant than people moving in from out of state. I think we're going to see those outlying areas finding it more and more difficult to have utilities, which I don't know. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean for growth, and what does it mean for days on market and everything else? And I think we're in an interesting time for sure.
Yeah. So this was very valuable call. I enjoyed it. If you guys liking this format, we'll continue to deliver 34 minutes and 34 seconds of high value conversation.
Rosie, before we go, I did want to say, I think one of our friends, she always says, don't go to where the puck is, go to where it's going, or what's the saying?
Don't get me talk about sports stuff.
We got two hearts just from that. Look at that. Go to where the puck is traveling.
It's headed where it's headed.
To.
Yeah, where not where it is, where it's headed.
So, you can look at the Fed, the Dallas Fed, you can look at all the news, you can see what's happening, but it still doesn't tell the story about where the market's going. So I know a lot of people are looking at tariffs and China and all this other stuff, but guys, like, what does that mean for the future, having more jobs and we need more workforce?
Look, I don't think I want to bring something very important. I had a very hardcore conversation with one of the investors who owns 5 properties, and he's like, Rosie, I need to sell it. And he's having a hardest time making a decision because the properties are old, they're needing money, rents are low, and the mortgage is going to be negative. And he's like, what should I do? What should I do? And it makes perfect sense not to spend any more money on the property right now.
By the way, we didn't help him get these properties. He got them on his own before.
Yeah, we came in later. So we're fixing the portfolio. We didn't help him acquire it because I don't have any of my clients in that zip code.
We're trying to unscramble his eggs.
We're unscrambling his eggs right now, which is like not an easy job. So I told him, I said, sometimes investors, it's almost like, one of my mentors, Chase, he really talks about this. It's almost a hit to his identity than to his bank account that I'm not going to sell the property at the all profit. And it's such a big hit sometimes that we can feel like it's okay to make a decision with a negative cash flow as long as I'm not settling for that price. Like, it's almost like people are willing to take a loss on the paper as long as it's not a hit to the identity. Like, so I had to have a hard conversation with him today. I said, look, the easiest thing for me to do is just say yes, and let's just do that because it's not my real estate. But just the way it is hit to your identity, that you're not selling the property at the price you thought, it is going to be a hit to my identity as your real estate partner, that on my clock, you're settling for a negative cash flow property. I said, if you're going to keep it, you're not going to keep it like that. We're going to go a different strategy route. So we're looking into seller financing options, and he's going to come out positive cash flowing on a property. And I'm so happy for him, right? So I feel like we all perform to our identities than to our bank accounts. So I would say have a healthy identity. Know when to let go.
I think you really have an identity of doing stuff outside the box and really testing the parameters and pushing the limits too. You're very resourceful. It's a compliment.
Well, that's what I get paid for.
Yeah, that's right.
to bring solutions to the table that nobody has thought before, and that's what makes Master Shifu irreplaceable. I actually like that. I'm actually gonna thank
That's his new name.
I'm so afraid of her taking that on permanently.
We did this. Now she's really gonna want us to continue.
Oh yes. Even when I'm answering like Master Shifu. Okay, I dug that thing up. So, anyways, so what I'm saying it, guys, look, not be attached. Okay, if you have real estate that you felt like, you were gonna hold on to, but it's the good decision right now to sell it. Just know, as long as you're making good decisions in the present, future would already be good. And
there's another thing you've always said. You said, sell if you're going to buy again. Don't just sell and walk away.
Yeah, if you are moving the money from one house to another property, don't. What are you worried about?
And so, like, I can imagine selling my property that's not doing so well. Maybe the market's a little funky there. I could sell that property and I can take those same funds and buy somewhere where I can experience a higher, there's pockets of the city where I'm like, what? How much is that house for? That's a bargain. And so if you're
I will move you there.
If you're swapping,
I will stay here.
You would have never
come up with. I was like, do you know it takes travel to get to a deal sometimes?
In a great market, highway. In a great market, there's no getting into some of these neighborhoods that you can right now.
Very true.
So, guys, I know you got nothing else to do, but I have people counting on me.
You added some more value, so that's great. Awesome.
So
How many
today,
minutes are we at?
39 minutes and exactly 39 seconds of high value conversation. Thank you, guys. I want y'all to know this is very organic, unhinged, unleashed conversation. We don't always prepare. We're sharing what we do, and we improve every single day, right? I hope this reaches people who need to hear it. And if you were a seller, I hope you got to see what you should be having in your corner when you are making a great decision to make a move. And I wish you all the best.
By the way, No Coffee Social this Friday. Happy July 4th to everyone. I hope you're celebrating with your families. This is the best.
Drink your coffee in those cans this week.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Independence Day to everybody.
Happy 4th of July weekend, guys. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.